And what about the impact on the title race? Do you think the gap is 9 points? City have a game in hand, but they play each other crucially.
I think Man City have let themselves down with a couple of results of late, and I think there's enough breathing space for Arsenal right now in terms of this not affecting them too much mentally in terms of the Premier League. They've got a great lead. Yes, if they lose at Man City, it could be on. Of course, it could be. But I think it was a lot tighter. It would play into it a little bit more. But I think what we saw today, and one of the criticisms I have of Arsenal as a team, as I said, they're the best team in the league. They've only lost 4 games in 50. Let's not get too carried away. Let's not forget that. But in terms of not so much the league, but maybe the Champions League, because they're on the right side of the draw and they've got a great opportunity in the Champions League. But that today, I was looking at it again, and I've said it consistently, they lack something really special in their attack. A world-class talent who could have just turned that game for them. They definitely lack that. I think the big players for Manchester City, especially in the middle of the park, took it upon themselves to take the game to Arsenal in terms of Rodri, in terms of Bernardo Silva, getting on the ball and playing. And I've said this before about Arsenal, they're a fantastic team, but they do lack maybe that little bit of quality. I've said before, they lack for me, I think they lack special players at the top end of the pitch. I've always felt that. And those players couldn't get on the ball and actually stop the relentlessness of Manchester City. It was just wave after wave after wave of attack, and they just couldn't quell it. And a lot of that was down, as I said, to Rodri and Bernardo Silva, who were absolutely fantastic.
And there was a sense that perhaps a goal was coming, and maybe it would happen with a mistake. And that is exactly what happened.
Well, it was Nico O'Reilly, who I think was 21 yesterday. But listen, credit to Pep Guardiola, he's shown huge faith in him. But when you actually watch the game, and even the first half, there was a big difference between your left back for Manchester City and the right back. It was 2 different roles. So Núñez was almost playing as a third centre-back, or backing up the play in possession. Nico O'Reilly was trying to get between the lines. And that was a different tactic. But you just look at him now, keep an eye on him. He wants that ball played in here. He wants it. Look, he's disappointed. He wanted that ball in there from Rodri. Doesn't get it. But when you talk about the difference in the team, we know Arsenal are probably a lot more structured. I wouldn't say Man City play off the cuff, but there's a lot more interchanging in the players. So, central midfield player on the right wing. Your right winger in the centre-forward position. Centre-forward in the number 10. And your left back in a left wing, left midfield position. So you have a lot more interchanging positions and a lot more sort of freedom, I would say. But what you've got in this situation here is Nico O'Reilly at the back post. Listen, the goalkeeper has an absolute shocker, huge mistake. And we'll get to him shortly. But on this second angle, I just want to keep an eye on Nico O'Reilly. And the reason being is, for me, and I've said consistently, this Arsenal team is a machine. They're powerful, the size. Manchester City are more technical, more diminutive maybe in midfield. But what you find here is, and we'll just stop it now, you've got Nico O'Reilly here, and he's up against, sorry, let me just see that better. He's up against Zubimendi. Probably the only player in the Arsenal team, or certainly in the back 4 and midfield 2, who probably couldn't cope with Nico O'Reilly here physically. If it was anyone else in the back 4, if it was Declan Rice, I think they wouldn't score this goal. So he gets the wrong side and pushes him out the way. And even when he has to change direction, he's just a bit too powerful for Zubimendi. And maybe it was just the luck that he found himself up against him. But the goalkeeper, listen, he's had an absolute shocker, as he has done in another couple of cup finals.
It's his worst nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah,
He's been desperate for the chance to play. He's probably known for weeks, hoping that he was going to play and had the decision confirmed to him. That is the worst possible scenario for him.
Well, when we saw the goal, Dave, I said to you, the first thing I said to you was, I feel sorry for the lad, because I know what he's been through with the Chelsea situation and twice, and obviously missing a penalty in a game against Liverpool. But I have got strong views on this play in the second goalkeeper. I don't like it, but I can understand it in some situations. But Mikel Arteta does not owe Kepa anything. He owes Arsenal supporters the best possible chance of winning the first trophy in 6 years. They've won 1 trophy in 9 years. So the goalkeeper comes to the club because he knows he's second choice. Yes, he can play through the rounds, but once you get to the final, it has to change. for me, because they haven't won enough trophies, and this team need to get over the line. And he owes it to the supporters more than he owes it to Kepa. Now, I know someone at home or yourself might say to me, but what about Manchester City?
What's the difference?
He does owe Trafford. He brought Trafford in at the start of the season to be the number one. Didn't think he was good enough, and then brought Donnarumma in. Not easy for the lad as well. OK? And also, they've won 4 of them. The pressure on Manchester City going into today to win another Carabao Cup is not the same for Arsenal. It's not. Or maybe there's another flip to that in terms of, we might say, Kelleher at Liverpool. The reason Kelleher, I used to get so many opportunities as well and playing finals, Liverpool were desperate to keep him. They didn't want to lose him. That is not the point with Kepa. He signed for the club because he knows he's second choice and he's not good enough for the top level. We've seen that at Chelsea.
Do you understand the point about potentially squad harmony, team harmony? This is a guy that's in training, facing shots every single day in Arsenal training sessions, and maybe the rest of the team would want him to get his chance and get his moment in the sunshine as well.
I don't think the rest of the team would want that. The rest of the team would want the best possible chance of winning a first trophy for a long time. They're not used to winning. They need to get over the line. And this is like another little chink for them in terms of going forward, in terms of the Premier League. A lot of questions will be asked when they go away to Manchester City again. They lost in the Cup Final, lost badly, and that could have been prevented if Raya is in goal. And let's not forget, when we're talking about David Raya, we're not just talking about your first choice goalkeeper. We're arguably talking about Arsenal's best player this season. Maybe alongside Declan Rice, maybe Gabriel. Raya's definitely next, maybe in front of the two of them. So it's not just changing number one for number two. You're changing one of your best players when you haven't got a history of winning with this team. Of
course, it had such a huge part to play in the first goal. What about the second one?
Well, it's the Nico O'Reilly final, isn't it? The thing I like about him here, he's at left back, he's marking Saka, but he jumps, wins the tackle, so he starts the attack from there, and it goes from there. And all he's thinking about now initially is backing up play. But the thing I really love about Manchester City, it's full-back to full-back. So straight away now, he's still not really involved. He's still almost thinking, I'm here to stop the counter-attack. But again, as we know, the difference probably in styles and the way you go about things at Manchester City compared to Arsenal, he takes that chance. The run from Bernardo Silva's fantastic. Takes Saliba out the way, and maybe Saka just switches off a little. But Manchester City was fantastic from half-time until these 2 goals, when it completely dominated Arsenal in every aspect of the game. And again, I talked about earlier on the freedom and the positions and the rotation. There's your holding midfield play. There's Rodri. We highlighted before the position of Bernardo Silva in the lead up to the first goal. So lots of bodies. Bernardo Silva's in the box as well. But listen, brilliant. And listen, he's a special talent, this kid. Pep Guardiola, one of the greatest coaches of all time, picks him every single week.
He?
Whether it's midfield or left full-back, he plays in this Manchester City team.
Just a quick one on Nico O'Reilly. If England are starting the World Cup tomorrow, your starting left-back is Nico O'Reilly or is it Lewis Hall?
I was going to say Lewis Hall, but I just on the... It's only one game, but to perform like that in a cup final, you've got to think as an England manager, the pressure that comes with playing for England, the expectation, the eyes that are on you. He's just played in a major cup final against the best team in the country. That's what Arsenal are right now. And basically the cup final is going to be known as the Nico O'Reilly Cup Final.
Big performance on a big stage.